The tumble was violent, a dizzying whirl of colors and warmth abruptly cut short when the spinning world finally stilled. Solomon the blue-striped sock found himself utterly alone. The familiar scent of lavender detergent was gone, replaced by the cool, dusty smell of the space beneath the dryer. Panic fluttered in his knitted threads. Where was his pair? Where was the comforting press of his twin? He remembered the joyful jumble of the laundry basket, the warmth of the dryer's embrace, and then the terrible moment he'd snagged on the drum's edge and tumbled into this silent, dim void. He was cold, incomplete, and adrift in a landscape of forgotten lint balls and stray buttons, driven by a desperate longing for warmth and connection. Solomon gathered his courage. He pushed off from the cold metal leg of the dryer, landing softly on the worn hardwood floor beyond the vast expanse of the hallway stretched before him, daunting and filled with unfamiliar shadows cast by the moon through a distant window. Each shuffle forward was a monumental effort. On his single foot, he navigated treacherous dust drifts that clung to his fibers and skirted the looming, shadowy shapes of discarded shoes. A chilly draft swept down the corridor, making him shiver, intensifying his sense of vulnerability and loss. He missed the snug fit around an ankle. The shared journey inside a boot. His sole purpose became finding warmth, finding belonging once more. His journey led him beneath a towering armchair, its faded velvet skirts brushing the floor like ancient curtains. Here, in the dim, golden light filtering down, he encountered Bartholomew, a large, rather philosophical dust bunny. Bartholomew observed Solomon's solitary state with deep, silent understanding. The Under-Furnishings see many pass through. Bartholomew rumbled softly, his voice like shifting fluff seeking Cozyland. Are we? Solomon confessed his loneliness, his yearning for his pair, and the comfort they shared. Bartholomew listened, a silent, fuzzy monument to patience. Warmth isn't always found where you expect, little traveler, he finally murmured. Follow the whispers of comfort, they lead true. Bartholomew pointed a wispy tendril towards a faint, golden glow emanating from further down the hallway. Encouraged, Solomon ventured on. He crossed the vast, chilly plain of the tiled bathroom floor, where echoes seemed to linger like ghosts. He scaled the treacherous, fluffy mountain of a discarded bath mat, its fibers thick and clinging. He even floated precariously across a sudden, soapy puddle on a makeshift raft of fallen eyelashes, guided by sympathetic dust motes shining like tiny fireflies. Each challenge tested his resolve, each obstacle a reminder of his solitary state. Yet Bartholomew's words echoed within him, a fragile ember of hope against the encroaching loneliness. He focused on the promise of that distant, golden glow, a beacon in the domestic wilderness. Finally, weary and slightly frayed at the edges, Solomon reached the source of the light. It spilled invitingly from beneath a closed door, warm and soft, summoning his last bit of strength. He squeezed through the narrow crack. He tumbled into a haven. Cozyland. It wasn't a grand palace, but a space beneath an old, overstuffed reading chair bathed in the warm light of a nearby lamp. The air hummed with gentle contentment. All around him were others like him, socks of all colors, patterns, and ages, each slightly worn, each missing their original pair. Some rested peacefully in soft nests of unraveled sweater yarn. Others chatted quietly, sharing stories of their adventures and the homes they once knew. A sense of profound peace, thick as the dust motes dancing in the lamplight, filled the air. An older sock, deep crimson with faded stars, shuffled forward. Her name was Eleanor. Welcome, traveler, she said, her voice soft as brushed cotton. We are the comfort companions now. We may not warm the feet we were made for, but we find new purpose here. She gestured around. Solomon saw socks tucked into the corners of worn picture books, Offering silent support, others formed soft cushions for tiny porcelain figurines. Some simply basked in the shared warmth and quiet camaraderie. He learned of socks who comforted teething puppies, or became beloved treasures in a child's dollhouse. Their purpose had transformed, not ended. A deep, unfamiliar sense of belonging began to weave itself into Solomon's very fibers, soothing the ache of separation. Solomon found his place nestled against a chipped but beloved ceramic mug warming on a forgotten coaster. He felt the gentle heat seep into his yarn, a different warmth than the dryer's blast, deeper and more sustaining. Looking around at his fellow comfort companions, the Argylls sharing tales, the fuzzy slipper sock cradling a small stone, he understood his journey hadn't been about finding his lost pair, but about finding himself in the quiet aftermath. He was Solomon, the blue-striped sock, a veteran of the underdryer, the crosser of bathroom tiles. He was home, not in the way he'd imagined, but in a way that resonated with a quiet, profound truth. Here in Cozyland, bathed in golden lamplight and the gentle hum of shared stories, he was warm, he was whole, he was exactly where he was meant to be, ready to offer comfort to the next lost treasure that found its way. Beneath the door, the silence wasn't empty anymore. It was full of peace. He sighed, a soft, contented sound, and settled deeper into the warmth.